And I know it's hard to tell, so you can tell whether or not there's going to be fog, but
Right.
how high it'll be is a little different story,
That's the big wild card, and I'm optimistic that it'll be a better display than last year when you really couldn't see anything.
Nothing.
But the fog and low cloud cover is definitely out there. So let's take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast as we head through the rest of this evening. Temperatures are going to be in the 50s, so you want to layer up appropriately. And the low cloud cover and fog is going to be a factor. How much of a factor depends on how high off the ground that fog is. And for some perspective on that, I want to bring in our augmented reality elements, specifically the Golden Gate Bridge, because the tower of the Golden Gate Bridge brings in a good benchmark for whether or not the fireworks are going to be visible. The top of that tower is just under 750 feet above water level. Most fireworks burst at a range of 600 to 1,200 feet, depending on the size of the shell. The bigger ones burst higher up in the air. So if we had the same weather pattern that we had late last week and over the weekend, with the big heat dome in place over the Bay Area, strong area of high pressure, it just means there's more atmosphere on top of it. That really compressed the marine layer down towards ground level. Thick fog at ground level, but it was a relatively shallow layer of fog. Nonetheless, if we had those conditions this evening, the fireworks would mostly burst above that and you wouldn't be able to see much of anything. This is the kind of weather we had last year on the 4th of July. What we've seen happen over the past couple of days is that heat dome weakened a relative area of low pressure in the atmosphere, less atmosphere on top of us, and that allows the marine layer to get much, much deeper, so the fog isn't quite as dense, and it forms with its base farther off of ground level, as opposed to actual fog. It's more low cloud cover, so depending on exactly where that base decides to set up, we may see kind of a mix of some of the smaller shells bursting below the base of the clouds, some of the larger ones bursting within the clouds, the colorful fog display that we're used to in San Francisco. It's a long way of saying that it could go either way, but some signs of cautious optimism that maybe we are going to be able to see at least part of the fireworks display at Fisherman's Wharf. I want to take a live look right now at the Golden Gate Bridge, and again, we can see the top of the tower, and that's why we are still cautiously optimistic that a couple hours from now that fog won't have dropped down to a level that would obscure the majority of the display. We'll have the forecast for the other fireworks displays across the Bay Area coming up in just a few minutes.